Hi, this is Lisa Rangel with Chameleon Resumes, the premier executive resume writing company, and thank you so much for joining me today. Today we're going to talk about 3 insidious ways ageism hurts your job search. And I even debated if I should use the word insidious or unsuspecting, because these are also 3 unsuspecting ways ageism really hurts your job search. And my company, Chameleon Resumes, we work with senior level professionals and executives, and the common pain that job seekers at this older age express is they feel like ageism is hurting them in the job search. They feel like they're running into it everywhere they go. And they're not wrong. Age bias is absolutely real. It's absolutely a thing. And it's an unfortunate scenario that many of us, and I say this as us because I'm soon to be 51, that we encounter. So I want to tackle it because there's some obvious ways to tackle it, but there's 3 insidious, unsuspecting ways ageism is hurting your job search, and I want to make you aware of them so then you can face it head on. So the first way that ageism hurts your job search is the candidate, you lead with age, and you're not leading with merit. And I'm going to give you an example about that. So when you start your resume off with over 25 years of experience, or that's one example. When you lead with seniority and you don't lead with merit, your achievements, how good you are at your job, what you did, what you turned around, when you don't lead with the achievement, when you don't lead with the merit, and you're resting on seniority to qualify you, you cannot be surprised if seniority is used against you, but and in the wrong way, right? Now, clearly, ageism is never right, but if you're leading with it, it's hard for a human being to sometimes separate out what is truly an achievement from those years of experience versus simply saying, I have 30 years of experience. 30 years of experience doesn't automatically qualify you for a job. The achievement you did during that tenure is what qualifies you for a job. So focus on the achievement, focus on the accomplishment, focus on the wins, focus on the merit. That is ageless. So, that's one way that ageism creeps into your job search and has really damaging effects, is because you're leading with age. So don't lead with age. The second way ageism unsuspectingly, creeps into your job search and does some damage is situations you encounter throughout the job search you label as ageism, and they're not really ageism. Now, I know this might be painful for some, and I know this could cause a little bit of a ruckus, but not every situation that gets labeled as ageism is truly ageism. In my book, ageism is when, all things are equal between candidates being considered for a job, and a company repeatedly has a pattern of, choosing and hiring the younger person. And by all things being equal, I mean the salary requests are equal, the qualification levels are equal, and they continuously, repeatedly go with the younger person. That's ageism, in my opinion, or ageist pattern, right? Looking for ways on resumes to not bring in candidates that seem to have, over 25 years experience, because you can do the math, right? And when there's patterns of that, that's ageism. Now, if you have a task-driven resume that isn't showing how well you do your job, and a task-driven resume is a dated format, and you're up against someone who has their achievements listed, and they choose the achievement-driven document to interview, that person behind the document to interview, and not you, that's not necessarily ageism. That is somebody who has a better presentation in showing how well they accomplished at a particular job. So, if someone makes it to the end of an interview process and it doesn't get chosen when the other candidate is kind of roughly the same age bracket, different, not that different in experience, even if you're a few years older, that's not necessarily ageism. You're in the same age bracket. They chose somebody else who they felt was more qualified, right? Or better qualified or more aptly qualified. So what sometimes gets labeled as ageism is truly actually just a competitive nature. And sometimes it's being outdated, and outdated you can fix, right? To be more competitive, you can practice and get coached on and improve your performance. So the good news is what sometimes gets labeled as ageism and isn't, it's typically fixable, right? But when you label it as ageism and it's not, you're putting yourself in a victim mindset that is hard to come out of. It only hurts you. And that's the way it's insidious, right? It sort of bleeds in. Now, which kind of leads me to number 3. The third way that ageism can hurt your job search is a candidate can go into situations just assuming it's going to happen, right? They have a negative mindset and they assume it's going to happen. Now, my heart fills, with compassion and love towards this person who feels this, because it's typically a result of it happening to them, right? And so now there's just emotional, damage from it. It hurts. So now you're trying to protect yourself by thinking it's just going to happen. So and I get it, right? I mean, I've had it happen to me, in scenarios where younger candidates were simply, younger business owners in my industry that I know I have more experience than them, and I know I do a great job, and but I could see it was just like sort of the age and the image and that sort of thing that was chosen. But so when it happens to you, it hurts, right? But the problem is that if you carry that hurt, and this is not to be critical, but it's just something to be aware of. But if you carry that hurt into every scenario that you are going to be in and assume it's going to happen to you, it's in the end going to hurt the candidate. It's going to hurt you, me, right? And it's so the key is to try to, as best you can, process your hurt, however you need to, right? However you need to honor that. But try to approach every new scenario with an open heart and with an open mind. And until you have evidence of ageism being the case in a scenario that you're in absence of information, don't assume that to be true. It is how I choose to live my life, and it's how I advise our clients, because otherwise you're just kind of carrying pain and assumption, and often it's wrong, because every situation that involves rejection isn't always ageism. So to me, these are 3 ways that ageism is just so ugly and insidious, and it affects job searches because to say it because it's happening within us. We're leading with age, and then we're not realizing that's the problem, or we're wrongly labeling situations as ageism, and that's the problem. Or we assume it's going to happen and it's not. Well, then we're in theory part of the problem. So again, this isn't victim blaming by any means, but there are some scenarios that we can look at ourselves and realize we can change it, right? We may not be able to change other people, but the good news is every reason I gave today, we can change. We have the power to change it. And so we can put forth, a more timeless, ageless, merit-driven persona into the job search world, and then we're evaluated on our merit. And that's ultimately what we want to do to conquer ageism, in my opinion. So I have put together a bundle of resources to help you with your resume, your profile, your job search tactics, your interview tactics in my, How to Beat Ageism bundle down below. So this way, you can have all the armor you need to conquer and win this battle. And it really, in my opinion, can be a battle some days. So you're going to want to check that out down below. And if you have any questions, I want you to email me directly, lr@chameleonresumes.com. I'm here for you. I want to make sure I answer your question. You can also place a comment below. I read and reply to every email and every question. And if you know someone who's going through this and you feel that they think ageism is their problem, I want you to show them this video. I'm going to ask you to share this video with them. And if you like it, I'm going to ask you to like it. And if you like what you heard today and you want to not miss next week, I'm going to ask you to subscribe. So So thank you so much for joining me today. I hope this helped. I'm really interested in your comments or your emails directly if you're not comfortable commenting in public. And let's talk about it, because I want to make sure we can put your mind at ease and help you put your best foot forward, so this way you can win. Thanks again.